Hello, this is Enrique coming to you from Kuala Lumpur City Center, or KLCC, the way they refer to it over here in Malaysia. After a month and a half of living in this amazing city, one thing that I can tell you is not at all what I expected. Today, I want to share with you some of my thoughts and first impressions on the city, but more importantly, I want to let you know whether or not I think it's worth a visit. So, let's get started. Before traveling to Malaysia, we knew very little about this country and its culture. Besides from the Petronas Towers, which you can see behind me, I've seen those on pictures online, but besides that, I was pretty much in the dark about Kuala Lumpur and I had no idea what to expect. In fact, after doing some research online, it appeared to be just a regular big city. Well, I can tell you, I was completely wrong. This is probably one of the coolest cities I've ever visited. Now, saying that Kuala Lumpur is the best city I've ever visited is a very bold claim. So let's unpack that. To begin with, let me tell you, this is a very, very clean city. Before traveling to Malaysia, we spent 2 months in Cambodia, and they have some really dirty cities over there. Places like Phnom Penh, the capital, where you literally find piles of trash everywhere. Well, that's not the way of Kuala Lumpur. This city does everything it can to look and feel clean. The first thing you notice is the clean streets and the very wide, well-maintained sidewalks. They have beautiful trees lining every road, even downtown in the city center. All the time you see people cleaning, sweeping, trimming, maintaining everything everywhere around the clock. It's rare to see trash anywhere. This is a city that actually cares about the way it looks, and people know it. Another plus is how aesthetically pleasing the city is. It really is beautiful. You could describe the architecture here as a blend between the old colonial European style with some traditional Asian buildings. Add to that a good amount of Arabic and Islamic inspiration, and then sprinkle on top some postmodern influence in buildings, and what you get is a young city that can't decide if it wants to be in Asia, Europe, or the Middle East, but that will surprise you at every turn with how beautiful it is. Only in Kuala Lumpur can you find the second tallest skyscraper in the world, surrounded by some of the most beautiful mosques in the world. Impressive Hindu and Buddhist temples, crazy street markets where you could buy every knockoff brand, try some of the most delicious and tastiest food while walking around colonial style streets and being surrounded by some of the most expensive fine dining restaurants and hotels. All of this within a 10-minute walk. The buildings themselves are also very cool with super interesting and unique designs. Unlike most of the cities around the world where you get buildings in the cookie cutter box style, here in Kuala Lumpur, every building has a personality with intricate designs and not two are alike. Now KL, which is how people refer to the city here, is huge with around 2 million people, but it really doesn't feel that way at all. Sometimes, as a matter of fact, you might think you're in a small town because of how relaxed and easygoing this city is. I feel like Kuala Lumpur is a city designed for walking. Not only do you have these wide sidewalks everywhere, but more importantly, you don't have to jump out of the way of traffic. That's the problem we encounter in both Thailand and Cambodia, where the storefronts are built so close to the road that you have to constantly look out for cars and motorcycles unless you want to get run over. And that's not to talk or mention the fact that in both these countries, motorcycles actually drive down the sidewalks, but not in KL. Over here, exploring and walking down the city is not only enjoyable, it's actually very relaxing. Another thing that I find to be really cool is that they have these overhead walkways in some areas downtown. Like for example, right now I'm walking down this fully enclosed air-conditioned walkway that is about 20 feet wide. Talk about walking in style. This one is the Bukit Bintang walkway, which is about 1.2 kilometers long and connects the Petronas Towers and the Convention Center with the Pavilion Mall and a bunch of other buildings in between. And then along the way, you have a lot of entrance and exit points where you come up and down through the escalators. It's a very convenient way to get around the city, and you escape the sun and the heat and you stay cool, so when you get to the actual destination that you're going to, you're still fresh. I use them all the time. This behind me is the Pavilion Mall with the famous giant 3D screen that you see in a lot of videos. They play some really cool videos there. It's worth visiting and just watching the commercials for a little bit. And by the way, if you're new to our channel, you should totally subscribe to our channel today so you continue to get our videos as we travel and explore around Kuala Lumpur. And if you haven't already, you should definitely check out a video about Little India. You should see the link for that up here. Little India here in Kuala Lumpur, in my opinion, is the best Little India, one of the best Little Indias in the whole world. But walking is not the only way to get around Kuala Lumpur. You also have the monorail and the metro, which also run overhead above the city traffic. Now, here comes the train. I've been extremely impressed with the train system here. It's super clean, the trains and the train stations, and it always runs on time. So let's get on this train after you. The payment system for public transportation here in Kuala Lumpur is very easy and convenient. All you have to do is first get one of these travel cards at any train station. It'll cost you 5 ringgit or $1.25, and then you can just top it up and load money into it as you need it. After that, all you have to do is tap your card in and out in any bus or train that you catch, and off you go. That's simple. So far, we found that the easiest way to get around the city is a combination of all three: buses, walking, and trains. What I usually do is just plug in the destination into Google Maps, and it usually works out the easiest and best combination, and then I just take whatever it tells me to do. Now, buses here run every 5 to 10 minutes, and there's even an app that tells you exactly when the bus is coming. How cool is that? Something that I think is really cool for people that are only visiting for a few days and staying in a hotel downtown, but they still want to see all the main sites, is that Kuala Lumpur offers a free bus service. Now, I know a lot of cities have a free bus service, which is usually one line that does a little circuit around downtown, but here in Kuala Lumpur they actually have 5 lines and crisscross the whole city center. So you could actually visit all the sites and explore everywhere without actually having to pay a penny. Free bus service right behind me. That's what you need to find. And you're gonna want to move because there is a lot to do. As I said earlier, before coming to Malaysia, I didn't really have any idea what to expect. But what I can tell you now, after being here living for about a month and a half, there's just a lot. One thing I can tell you is that Kuala Lumpur is totally underrated. The more we explore, the more we realize it's full of surprises. For example, right now we're walking down the Chinatown market. This place is crazy, super packed all day. Right now it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and you can already see there's just a ton of people. Yeah, let's go explore. Something that we really like is how close together everything is. For example, the Petronas Towers are on top of the best shopping center, shopping mall in the whole city, the Surya Mall. And underneath this mall is the aquarium. Now, if you exit opposite the main street, you get to the KLCC Park and the fountains, and a short walk away, you get to the Pavilion Mall, which is another big tourist destination. And by the way, side note, we're gonna be here in Kuala Lumpur for a few more months. So if you know of any cool, awesome places, please make sure you leave us a comment down below and let us know. I find it that often the best, coolest places don't show up on the online travel guides. You just hear about them from other people. So once again, if you know anywhere super cool here in Kuala Lumpur, let us know, in your opinion, what those places are. Thank you. Here's another example. If you catch the KJL train from the Petronas Towers and you travel west 3 stops, you get to the Masjid station, and one of my favorite parts of the city. This area is literally explorer heaven. Within a 15-minute walk, you have the Chinatown, you have the Central Market, you also have the National Mosque of Malaysia, which in Malay is a Masjid Negara. You also have the Islamic Arts Museum of Malaysia, which, by the way, has an amazing collection of Islamic paintings. We were super impressed with them. Then you also have the Sultan Abdul Samad Mosque right behind me, which is, by the way, a beautiful mosque. And right behind it, you have Merdeka Square. There are a ton of really cool buildings around Merdeka Square that combine the old European colonial style with the Islamic one. I love this one in particular. It's called the Water Curtain, and it looks really cool at night. And over here is the tower, the building I was talking about earlier, the Warrison Merdeka Tower. And you can literally see this building from anywhere in the city. Not to mention this zillion of little restaurants and cool places that you can explore, all of it within a 10 to 15-minute walk. Now, I don't know if there's an actual name to this area, because this is technically part of the city center. I just refer to it as the area around the Masjid Jamek station. And we have spent several days exploring this area because there's a lot to see. Honestly, I think this is probably the best part, the coolest part of Kuala Lumpur, with maybe the exception of KLCC Park and the towers. Basically, Kuala Lumpur makes it very easy for visitors. You could just go to any place and you find enough activities and attractions to keep you busy for the whole day, perhaps even 2. We are right now in Merdeka Square. It usually doesn't look like this. They have the marathon here today. Well, it's actually yesterday and today. They have 5Ks, 10Ks, 21Ks, which is a half marathon, and then the 42, which is the full marathon. They started both days at 6 in the morning. It's right now around 9:30 in the morning, and I think some of the people are already starting to finish. But it's really, really cool because here in Kuala Lumpur, usually at this time is completely empty, and you can just walk down the street and enjoy the buildings and everything. And that's what I was hoping for today, but I guess literally hundreds, thousands of people beat me to the punch, and it's gonna be a little crowded, but we'll make do anyway. Let's go. Now, when it comes to food, Kuala Lumpur is a total food haven. That was a very pleasant surprise for us. The Neo and I are usually very easygoing when it comes to food, but I think Kuala Lumpur has totally spoiled us, especially after coming from Cambodia and spending 2 months over there, where the food was super bland and expensive. KL, the complete opposite. Food here is delicious, full of flavor, and very cheap. Now, there's a ton of cities around the world that are considered cosmopolitan and melting pots of culture. Well, KL takes that to a whole new level. The fusion of cooking styles between the Indian, the Chinese, the Arab, the Western, the Malay, all mixed together is amazing. This behind me is the Jalan Alor food street, which is probably one of the most famous food streets here in Kuala Lumpur. It gets super packed, especially after 5 o'clock. Right now it's around 5 o'clock and it's starting to get really, really busy. Now, personally, I'd rather eat at the local mom and pops places down the street, the smaller ones. But this is definitely a really cool place to visit, especially if you're only in Kuala Lumpur for like 2 or 3 days, because you have all types of food in one place, and it's usually fairly cheap. Over the last 3 years of traveling around the world, I would say on average we cook probably 80 to 90% of our meals at home, and this is mainly because of money. Grocery shopping and cooking your meals is usually way cheaper, plus whenever you go out, you don't really know what you're going to get. Not here. We've gone out to eat every single day for a month and a half, and we haven't had a single bad meal. As a matter of fact, there's so many different dishes to choose from that you could literally eat something different every day. And it's so cheap. We averaged every meal now for the last month and a half, and it comes to $4.50 per day. And that's for 2 people. So that's $2.25 per person per day. Now, I have to say, however, that we, for the most part, have stayed away from all the fancy restaurants and all the touristy stuff. Instead, we usually eat at the local smart food places where the local people eat. Now, what's really cool is that for the most part, you can communicate in English here everywhere. It's probably because of how many different nationalities coexist in this city that, in a way, English has become the de facto second language. Every sign is in English or in Malay and English. However, in the small restaurants, the menus are always going to be in Malay only. But that can easily be solved with Google Translate. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Google Translate, all you have to do is open the app, take a picture of the sign or the menu you want to translate, and it'll translate everything in the picture. Now, what's cool is that you can even download different languages into your phone, so it will work when you're offline. So even if you have no reception on your phone when you're traveling, you can still use it. It's actually pretty cool, but anyways, now I want to enjoy my meal. Alright, so I got some eggs with roti, I got a cheese roti, and I got some chicken masala. Another big reason why people love coming here is shopping. Shopping in Kuala Lumpur is amazing. There are so many awesome malls all around the city. It's impossible to walk for more than 10 minutes without running into one. And these are not just regular shopping centers. As a matter of fact, most of these malls will be considered top tier, top class in any city around the world. And what makes them so cool is how unique they are. For example, right now we're inside of the Bahia Times Square Mall, which has a full theme park and a roller coaster inside. How cool is that? This is awesome. However, I would say probably the 2 biggest ones are the Surya Mall and then the Petronas Towers, and then the Pavilion Mall. But the main reason why we get so excited about these malls being everywhere is not just that they're cool, which they are, and that the shopping is amazing. It's actually because of the AC. During summertime here in Kuala Lumpur, it gets super hot and humid, which means that after exploring and walking around for a couple hours, you get very hot and sweaty. Well, with these malls being everywhere, you could just walk into one for a few minutes to cool down, and you also get to use the restroom and freshen up, which is very convenient. This is particularly true when you visit one of the religious temples or a mosque. Like, for example, behind me, you have the beautiful Sultan Abdul Samad Mosque, because when you visit a religious building, you have to observe or respect the dress code, and that usually means long pants for men and women and long sleeve for females, especially when it's this hot out. It's almost 90 degrees. It's very uncomfortable to be fully dressed and then have to go and explore. Overall, I think Kuala Lumpur is a very, very safe city, especially at night. They have lights everywhere and you see a lot of people out and about. Everywhere we've gone, everyone's been super friendly, treated us very well, and people are just so polite. It's a pleasure to be here. I love this place. So to answer the initial question, would I recommend a visit? Totally. Kuala Lumpur is an amazing city. And as of right now, It takes the #1 spot on my list of best cities in Asia. Previously, it was Bangkok. And don't get me wrong, Bangkok is a great city, but Kuala Lumpur is just another level. So if you're thinking about it, book your ticket and come to visit. You will not regret it. But if you're still unsure which country to visit between Thailand and Malaysia, make sure you watch our Bangkok videos and decide for yourself. I recommend starting with the Sky Tower video. You should be able to find the link for that right here. In any case, I'm glad you liked this video, and I'll see you next time.